Do you remember the 5 Chandler school administrators who had a hearing in front of an advisory committee to determine if they should have their license suspended for their failure to handle allegations by junior high girls and high school girls against Patrick Powers, the drama teacher who was inappropriately touching them just months after getting hired? The advisory board made recommendations up to the Department of Education, which was to have a hearing and make their findings this week. One of those administrators has had the charges against her dismissed. She was the assistant principal Woodworth, and a ton of people showed up at the Board of Education meeting to support her. She explained that her involvement in the case was very limited. She was asked to interview some of the girls by the principal who was handling the investigation. She interviewed those girls. She gave the interview over to the principal who continued the investigation. But it was not within her duties to handle this investigation. Now, she is a mandatory reporter who didn't report, but the Board of Education said, no, your charges are dismissed. Craig Gilbert was the Title IX officer, and the advisory committee made the recommendation that he have a letter of censure for failing to offer adequate Title IX services. I did a former video about what Title IX means. It's a federal law that prohibits gender discrimination in schools that receive federal funding. Certainly, these girls who were sexually harassed and sexually touched were discriminated against based on their gender. Most certainly. However, he decided that this was not a Title IX issue and shut it down. Somehow he thought a letter of censure was excessive. The Department of Education decided that the 4 administrators who are not Assistant Principal Woodworth, which includes Ridden, Philhoon, Phillips, and Jacob, will all be getting individual hearings. That means that they have to redo the trial, that the victims have to come and testify at 4 more individual hearings because the State Board of Education felt like there wasn't enough evidence or that these 4 had somehow gotten a raw deal. It's a really disappointing use of resources. Why have a trial if you're not going to take the results and the evidence of that hearing and make a decision? It really feels like the State Board of Education is just pushing the ball down the court, delaying, creating more barriers to justice. At least that's what it feels like to me. What do you all think?